Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Lock Shop, presented to you by our great partners over at Coolbet, exclusive betting partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, and obviously the presenting sponsor of The Lock Shop. Nielson and Huss with you. Huss, you got that soccer red on today? Is that what we've got? Is that soccer red for the Canadian women's soccer team?
Damn right it is. 2 p.m. Winnipeg time. What is it? 1 p.m. in
1 p.m.
Edmonton,
Edmonton
Canada,
time, yeah.
Columbia. We don't care about your stupid 6-point penalty. We're here to win and move on. Push through. Stay alive.
Gotta push through.
It was nice that they made the appeal. That apparently got shut down. Rick Westhead's got some other report today that doesn't look very good on Bev Priestman.
Oh, is that what? Okay. I thought he attacked another sport. I was like, no, just focus on soccer for now. If it was up to Rick Westhead, he'd strip all the golds from everybody. Let's see here. Yeah, well, yeah, there's some more stuff there from Westhead. So if you're interested, you can go find him on Twitter at R Westhead. We were thinking of coming up with like a character on our show in here at Edmonton Sports Talk with a Twitter account called Nick Besthead, and he just tries to break local scandals just for fun. We'll see if we find the time for it.
When you get the email from Nick Besthead,
you're in trouble,
asking you for comment on something.
Oh my God,
it's a bad thing.
Not Nick Besthead. Oh my God, it's the EST whistleblower. EST whistleblower, Nick Besthead. Anyway, it's something we might get into at some point today. Obviously, Wednesday, huge golf episode coming up, Olympic golf picks. There's lots to get to. P. Greggy's going to pop by a little bit later on. Winnipeg Sports Talk with Huss coming up at high noon here, Edmonton time. Oil stream today with myself and YouTube Trev. We're going to take a look because with the Olympics going on right now, we're going to give you our 14 forwards for the 2026 Hockey Olympics. So we're going to dive into that on Oil Stream today. It was fun putting that list together today, actually. So Oil Stream should be a lot of fun. We'll go there at noon, presented by GS Construction. Has a few things to get to. First of all, I do want to start with the little meeting we had yesterday with a few of the Coolbet boys. And something excited coming down the pipe here right away in the month of August. This isn't even that far away.
Well, I mean, around the playoffs, we were talking about making our Lock Shop, EST, WST poker night happen on the Coolbet platform. And, with just that amazing run that the Oilers had, basically taking us right into the draft and into summer, we were waiting for a time to do it. But now is that time. So here's a save the date, Lock Shoppers. Tuesday, August 20th. I believe they're planning on it to be 8 p.m. Alberta time.
Yep.
9 p.m. here in Winnipeg. And we're gonna have a little poker open, if you will, the
Lock Shop Poker Series. Yes,
the Lock Shop. Well, and I think what we're really hoping to do is that, if everyone enjoys it, we have a good time, we have good response, then sort of set something up with some scheduled dates throughout the year for exactly that, a little bit of a Lock Shop Poker Series. Where we do 5 or 6. I know Patty and Andrew behind the scenes at Coolbet. I'm going to work on some great prizes just to be available to everyone for entering. And then potentially, depending on how things go, a couple of different options for what could be, a special tournament at the end that if you win or qualify for, you get to be in with, potentially even a trip to one of the big Coolbet poker events that happen over in Europe. So bottom line is it's going to be a lot of fun. We are looking for it to be, I think, basically a Canadian $30 buy-in, which is basically 20 euros. There'll be one rebuy at the end of the first period of time, which I think is going to probably be 45 minutes to an hour. We're sort of looking at this to, if you win it, if you're in. I mean, this isn't going to be an 8-hour tournament. This is going to be one that goes about 2.5 hours. I think
that's what we want, right? We don't want you to be up till 6 a.m. trying to win this thing. We're going to try to move it along 2.5 hours, get to a final table. And Huss, I thought you laid it out really nice there. And one of the things, like, we're still working on the exact execution of it, but we'll be doing a live stream of it, of the poker tournament on EST, probably on WST. We're gonna sort that out. But even if you're not in the tournament, we want you to be in the tournament. If you get eliminated along the way, you can watch the rest of the tournament. So I'm excited about this, buddy. I really am. I think this could be. I think it could be beginning of something fun.
I love the. I love playing online poker, but even more so, I love playing poker with friends.
Yes.
And I mean, I think this is. Listen, we've got a really cool community, and even though there's a lot of people that we've never met in real life, we chat with them every day. We see their contributions to our shows, and it'll be a fun night to go all in against our friends. I see Big Maple is all in. It's going to be great. So we've got some people. Myself, Remus from WST will be in. We'll see. Maybe we get Jake and Patty in. There might be some bounties on a
few of our
yours
heads.
truly and US, exactly, which some people will like. So August 20th, mark that down. I think next week, because we want to make sure that, our peeps get in first, we're going to have like a pre-registration so people can get in. So next week, I know Dusty's going to be calling the Halinka, but as soon as we have it, I'll throw it out on the Lock Shop. We'll get it out on our socials. And you can reserve your spots and have some fun with us on the 20th for the first ever Lock Shop poker event that hopefully will be the birth of our Lock Shop poker series, along with our friends at Coolbet. So yeah, that was the great part of last night. And I have to say this, Dusty, thank God the Olympics have been so much fun to watch. Because I got into it big time last night, went down the street with a couple of my friends. We had the CBC feed on one TV. We had the NBC feed on the other. Got to relive the entire women's gymnastics event, which was, just absolutely incredible. Some awesome swimming last night. Got a chance to revisit the semifinal and the gold medal game in the women's rugby. And because of all that, I was able to avoid watching the disintegration of the double play last night in the most miserable fashion I can remember. We get the over in the Phillies-Yankees game.
Man.
7-6 goes to it. And then, great, we've got this late game with the Dodgers. The Dodgers put 5 across the plate in the top of the first inning. And we're up 5 with a very nice cushion against a very average Padres team. What happens? The Dodgers put the bats away for the rest of the night. The Padres chip away, tie it, and win it in extras. Thank God I wasn't watching that live, because I would have been like, listen, all I can say, I don't listen. We do this every day throughout the year. Sometimes you're really hot. Sometimes you're on a bit of a cooler. I take no offense if you decide to fade me at any point this year. And this goes back, like, as I say, I still maintain I should have been 4-0 last week in the CFL. The Rider game and the Bomber game, I'm still not really over them. But you know what? This is the game we play, folks. Sometimes you get a few bad beats. I've been on the end of a few of them. But last night was absolutely miserable to blow a 5-0 lead, having the other game in, and lose it in extra innings of a West Coast game, which means you have to wait till like 1 a.m. to actually get the bad news.
I know I didn't see it until this morning, and it's funny because I knew we were cruising on that over, and our cool bet hotline of the day yesterday was the Orioles -1.5 on the Nielsen show. They covered that against the Jays, and I was working on a tweet around like 9:30 last night because we hit the Orioles. And then we hit the over. And last time I had looked, the Dodgers were up 5-0. So I kind of put this tweet together ready to post and be like, hell of a night in baseball. Like, we go 3 for 3. And I was like, you know what? I better just check in on this Dodgers game before I fire this out and see where it's at right now. And I look, and at that point, it was 5-3. So I was like, you know what? I'll just wait and we'll see where this goes. And I woke up this morning and saw that they didn't win and it got walked off. I was like, man, that's a bad beat. That's a bad beat on that one. Hey, we're gonna get Pat Gregoire. Hey, Zach, Patty's getting ready to slide in here, so you can slide back over, get him set up. Couple of things. Women's soccer today, Huss. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Where's the value in this? Because I think, what are they, like minus 160 or minus 180? We talked about it a bit this morning. It's a pretty chalky number for them just straight up win. But where do you see the value here?
Wow. It's now Canada minus 182.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I first mentioned this on the program, we were plus 102 or minus 102, basically even money. And I'm just looking at my open bets here. Ooh, I'm having a tough time pulling them up. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I can't see my open bet right now. Anyways, I think it was like minus 108 when I bet it yesterday. So,
wow.
Listen, Canadians are hammering Canada right now. And I think it probably has something to do with the fact that, the penalty, I think people thought that maybe Canada would have a cushion if the penalty was reduced or eliminated, and they'd have the 6 points. But the fact of the matter is they got to win if they want to stay alive. And I think that has created a flood of people betting on our Canadian women's soccer team. Listen, I think they're going to win this game. It's really unfortunate if you waited this long to have to swallow minus 182 as opposed to minus 108.
Yeah.
And listen, if you wanted to bet Colombia was plus 275, as was a draw earlier. They're now plus 475, and the draw is plus 330. So it's all going over there. Now, Canada, you could bet Canada minus 1 on the spread, which basically means you got to win by 2 at plus 155. That is a difficult one to do. I would almost lean. Oh, geez, the over. Interesting that the over is plus minus 141. I guess we've seen some goals in Canada's games. I mean, they put both of their matches so far have been 2-1 wins. So they've been 3 goals or over. I could see maybe the defense. Colombia has one incredible star player that, might be able to put one up. But I have a feeling that the Canadians, I don't mind the under in this game, under 2.5, to be honest, if you wanted to go a different route. But listen, I'm on Canada to win this game. Do they have both teams to score? Yes is plus 125, or sorry, minus 125. Obviously you've got the double chance. Yeah, the draw, no bet. Canada's minus 476. So you might just have to hold your nose, folks, and lay the minus 182 on the Canadian women. We're certainly not backing any other side today.
No chance.
But everyone has gotten on it right now, and that is a big one. The other match at that same time in the third game in the group, New Zealand and France, the other two teams, and France is a massive favorite. I don't mind France minus 1. I think they're going to be in a very, very angry mood after what happened with them against Canada, and I think New Zealand is probably in the wrong place at the wrong time. France minus 1 at minus 159. I mean, we could take France at minus 159 and then take Canada at minus 182. You can get that to plus 152 if you're looking for a way to kind of maybe add in for a parlay. So France minus 1 and Canada to win would take you up to, plus 152.
U.S. men's basketball going at it today, too, against South Sudan. They're a 28.5-point favorite. I was trying to look at this morning and figure out where you may be able to find some value. Now, South Sudan pushed them in the pre-qualifying. This is a little bit different. 28.5 is a huge number. So I thought maybe you'd find some value on some props. Now, if this game goes per script and the Americans run away with it, you're not going to see a lot of LeBron. You're not going to see a lot of Steph. You're not going to see a lot of KD. I mean, this would be an opportunity to mix some of those other guys. But the one guy that I absolutely love, they do have him involved anyway, but I think they'll still give a lot of run to, will be Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man. I mean, he's 22 years old. This is a guy you can just go out and let cook for the second half of this ball game if you want to let some of your older guys sort of settle back here. And his total's only set at 12.5. So I really like Anthony Edwards over 12.5 points here against South Sudan, just assuming that you'll see less LeBron, less KD, less Steph in this game. And with those guys out, I mean, the one guy that you can probably confidently, I mean, you can do it with a bunch of them because they're all Olympic athletes, but I think you're comfortable with him having the ball in his hand. And I think in a game like this, Anthony Edwards isn't going to let up. Like, he's just going to keep going. So I love Anthony Edwards over 12.5.
You convinced me. I just bet it. I'm in on that. I mean, you know, when we're talking about, like, I think if we blindly bet the underdog in things like USA men's basketball games, you're probably going to end, just the lines are so massive. And to your point, I mean, at this, like, I know early on in the tournament, you want to have your big wins. They're going to be the number one seed if they win this game. I don't think there's any question about that. But yeah, looking at some other areas to get in, like, you know, does KD need to go off? Does LeBron need to go off? Not so much. Ant-Man's a good one. Drew Holiday is 8.5. This also seems like one of those games that, you know, some of the less bright stars on the team might be able to shine. So that's another one to think about. But I just think about all the underdogs, like for the women's rugby. People know of the top teams like New Zealand, Australia. If you bet the underdog in every women's rugby playoff game, I think you would have won every game. You certainly would have won all 3 Canada games. You would have won the USA game. USA won as an 8-1 favorite. So there definitely is some angles on the on underdogs, big time underdogs in some of these events where you do have point spreads. A little different though when we're talking about just winning events like in the pool, for instance, or once we get onto the track with the running.
All right. Let's say, hey, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, feel free to message in 780-218-9999 if you're watching over on YouTube. Let us know what you're thinking for your favorite plays with this Olympic golf, or if there's any other Olympic bets that you want to be on here today, late in July on the Lock Shop. Lots of NFL futures, lots of fantasy talk coming down the pipe, obviously, in August. Go ahead, Huss. What else you got?
Big time. I cannot wait to get in. And, you know, next week, I know shout out to Patty, who's going to join us. I'm not sure if he's good to go right now. It seems like there may have been a connection problem.
I think he's back. I think he's back now. We can bring him in if you want. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Well, Patty's going to be doing his thing with Maddie for us. Look at this. We got double Canada today, repping it up. I know we're going to get lost in this golf and the Olympics for the next bit. A very quick update on the CFL because there's been a couple line movements. The line in the BC Bomber game has not moved. It's still -3.5, but the money lines moved pretty significantly. The Bombers were plus 143, I think, yesterday. It's now plus 160, and the 3.5 is at -116. So don't be surprised if that line gets to 4. The Ticats Alouettes line has moved to 5. And I think we talked about this. I'm thinking I like the Ticats at 3.5 or 4. So this might be a great time to get in on the home dog if you like Hamilton. The Elks Rider game has stayed at 5.5, but Dusty, from 1 all the way to 3.5. I think people have noticed the trends with the Calgary Stampeders when it comes to home field. 3.5 point favorites against the Argos. So just kind of wanted to point out those line changes right now. If you do like it, if you've been waiting to bet the Bombers to win, now's a good time to get in. As I said, you might want to wait on the point spread to see if this moves to 4. And a big move in Hamilton, too, from 3.5 all the way to 5. But the biggest mover so far, Calgary at 3.5, opening up at 1. So some big movement. Mr. Gregoire, how are you? Oh, we got a mute.
I think you got a mute situation here, Patty? I think we got a mute situation.
That's when people in the chat, we've got our own mute button because of all the mute instances we had early on in WST. We've got our own emoji on that.
I think Patty thinks he thinks it's working, but I couldn't hear him. You couldn't hear him, yes? You know, Pat, I will say
No.
this. When you popped in a little bit earlier, remember, like you had to reconnect? I did hear you then. So, I don't know. We'll try to get Pat back. I mean, he's going to get this figured out. We've got golf picks today. You can't mess around with audio on golf picks day, even if he just has to reconnect. It's too big of a deal today, Huss. Too big a deal.
Well, it is. And you know what? Why don't we pull this up right now? Because things get going tomorrow. And we have quite a few options to bet for this golf tournament. Here, while we get Patty back, I'm just going to lay out these odds to win the gold medal. So Scotty Scheffler, who was plus 350, is now at 4-1. Xander Schauffele's at 6. Rory McIlroy, all right, good to go. Patty's good to go. Let's get Pat in here. Rory's 9-1. Morikawa and John Rahm coming off his emotional victory on the Live Tour last week. John's at 11-1. Oberg 16. Tommy Fleetwood 20. Shane Lowry and Joakim Niemann 25. Vic Hovland and Tom Kim 30. 33s for Hideki and Alex Noren. 40s for Matty Fitz, Minwoo Lee, and there's the first Canadian, Corey Connors. And you got to go all the way down to 150-1 for the other Canadian, Nick Taylor's. Patty, you're back, but you were looking great. You were looking ready to tee off, representing our nation in Paris.
Exactly. Red and white, ready to go. I know you're all fired up for the soccer game this afternoon. You guys talked about the U.S. basketball game, which, if you like Drew Holiday, 10 points, 4 assists, and U.S. to cover the 28.5. That is an exclusive called Red, White, and Drew. So
Beautiful.
That one is one that I really like. But, I mean, let's be honest here, folks. Let's be honest. This is the appetizer to the big thing, and that's this golf this week. And the way you look at the field, I know it stinks that, you know, Wyndham Clark is not playing his best golf. He's taking away a spot from a guy like Bryson DeChambeau. Tyrell Hatton's not competing for Great Britain. There are a few live guys that certainly you'd like to be suiting up. But this kind of event, to me, I feel like there's probably about anywhere between, let's say, 20 to maybe 35 golfers who legitimately have a chance to win here.
That's
like
fair.
This to me kind of feels like an elevated event. There's no cut, but it also kind of reminds me of a live golf event, because when you look at the top of live, there are a significant chunk of really good golfers at the top. And then you look at the second half and it's really, a who's who of nobodies, and no knocking some of these golfers that are on the list. Now that I say this, there's probably going to be 100-1 long shot from Italy who's going to win this thing. But me personally, I think that we see one of these top dogs win, or at least a player that we have seen compete, or maybe even won on the PGA Tour. I'm really looking forward to it. I know there's some folks in the golf community who are really ho-humming and not really too sure they want to get fired up for this thing. I don't know. To me, I'm really excited for it. The golf course is a golf course that we have seen at previous World Tour events. We saw it at the Ryder Cup in 2018. So I think this is all really kind of coming together as a really good golf event. And sure, it's not the PGA, but these guys want to win an Olympic gold. They're not collecting a paycheck here. This is for full pride.
Major.
I totally agree. What would you
rather win outside of a major championship? What would you rather win? Olympic gold medal, or I mean, I guess the Players would be the next one. And I mean, obviously that's a huge cash windfall and helps you in the FedEx Cup. But I mean, this is special. It comes along once every 4 years. Every one of these guys, for the most part, you would think would be locked in. Although I don't know if you saw that business today. They had, when kids go for their first day of school and they say, "This is my." So whatever, a bunch of guys.
When I grow up, I want to work with Daddy at Edmonton Sports Talk, like that type of thing.
Exactly. So it said, "This is my nickname. This is my ex-Olympics. My favorite other Olympic sport is, and my goal for Paris is this." So Rory was up. My nickname is Roars. Sounds like a hockey guy. Very, very poor
Roarsy.
nickname.
Old Roarsy.
Yeah, this is my second Olympics. I think his favorite other Olympic sport was dressage.
Yes,
actually, which was interesting.
Weird.
And then he won gold. Matthew Fitzpatrick, his nickname, according to him, is Matt. Is that even a nickname? I mean, give me a break. Anyways, he wants to win gold. Shane Lowry, Ireland. I think he likes swimming. He wants to win gold. Scotty Scheffler, goal for Paris. Have fun. The minute I saw that, I'm out on Scheffler at 4-1. You can have all the fun you want. I want guys that are coming to win this tournament. Yeah. I think for the most part, guys will be. But I mean, it's a really interesting field right now, Patty. I mean, it's a lot smaller than a normal event, and that kind of is very close to a live field as far as how many players. But listen, the quality of players. There's a few guys like a Bryson, as you mentioned, that aren't there, but for the most part, we've got a pretty unreal field that is deep. I mean, even the guys that like a Nick Taylor, who's won twice on tour this year, popping 150-1 just because of the quality at the top of those shorter numbers that I listed right off the bat.
Yeah, totally. And it's so funny you mentioned that Scheffler thing. I saw the same thing, and I was like, nope, not doing it.
Well, I mean, quickly, if Rory's other favorite sport is dressage, I'm out on him too. I'm out on
fair point.
I'm sorry. If no way, I'm out on him. We've eliminated Scheffler. We've eliminated Rory. Come on.
What about the Rave Horse? He's one of the most popular athletes in the entire Olympic Games.
The Rave Horse?
The Rave Horse. You haven't heard about it, Dusty? Trust me. I think we're gonna get him into dressage before it's all over. We have to go on social media and enjoy what these horses can do. But yes, the dressage. I was a little surprised. Maybe that was somewhat tongue in cheek, but there's a lot of people. I have our guy Gregory Liverpool telling us it. He dropped in our WST chat yesterday, in all caps, just to accentuate the point. Don't sleep on dressage. So I'm
the future.
It could very well be, but yes, the Rave Horse is what everyone's supposed to be looking for.
Wait, I'm just reading this. After helping Team USA win the silver medal and making the headlines in Tokyo, Carmel Valley's Stephen Peters and Moopsy, the Rave Horse, did not make it to the dressage finals in the Olympics. Upset. The Rave Horse has been upset at the 2024 games in Paris, France.
That just goes to show you the parity that we have in dressage nowadays, right? If the horse that was for blocking,
we have in dressage.
That might be one of the few events I'm not sure it's booked.
Yeah, that might be tough for our odds makers to price that together. But the Rave Horse is the one that was dancing to the Snoop Dogg last Olympics, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what I thought. Crip walking.
Pretty much, yes.
That's what Snoop said. Snoop was all fired up, wanted to meet the horse.
Oh God, I love it.
Too good. Too good.
Sorry, we got everything thrown off by Rave Horse. That's my bad. I should have brought up dressage again. But
I know. Yeah, now I'm moving off to the golf and checking out table tennis futures and heads up. Like, let's focus, guys.
Refocus. Patty,
Pat, you take the lead here. Like, give us your favorite at least outrights, and then we can get into a few things that are also out there.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this. I think there are a lot of other side bets that we can definitely get into, but in terms of outrights, I told you guys this. I think I might even put it in our group chat the second I did bet it. It was my first Olympic bet, and that was Xander Schauffele to win at plus 900. He's now down to 6-1, and I almost would still seriously consider
I'm on him.
it.
He's at the top of my card, man. I've hit with him twice in majors this year. I mean, if we're eliminating Scheffler and we're eliminating Rory because of the dressage thing, I absolutely love Xander. It's even. I mean, I wish I got him.
Defending gold medalist.
Defending gold medalist, just coming off another win, 2 majors this year. 9-1 would have been great. You're right. Sitting here right now at 6-1. I think I can still swallow it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, second in strokes gain approach over the last 24 rounds in this field. First in strokes gain putting on bent grass POA. That's what we'll see here. 2 majors. You mentioned it this year. You cashed on both of them. won a gold medal already. Like to me personally, I got him at 9, so I'm sitting pretty here. But even if I didn't get it, I'd probably be betting at 6-1. So that's my pick. My one pick went a little bit further down the board. This seems to be a really trendy pick, and we've heard this a lot this year. Is Colin Morikawa really good course fit? But I believe this is a great course fit for Morikawa. He doesn't mash the ball quite as long as some of the other guys that are near the top, but he's deadly accurate, and you have to be accurate off the tee with these tight fairways. In the field, he ranks first in good drive percentage and second in driving accuracy percentage. Finished third in the Olympics last time, but he didn't finish on the podium. He lost in that crazy 7-man playoff that we saw there. And his year has been really weird. And I feel like all three of us at some point have been on Morikawa during one of these big events. Yeah. You could say it's been a disappointing year, but at the same time, he's probably been one of the best players on the PGA Tour, especially at big events. T3 at Augusta, T3 at the PGA Championship, second at the Memorial, T14 at the US Open, and T16 at the Open. I really think Colin is going to have a strong showing here. I like him at 11-1. He's going to show up in other spots on my card as well. It's a tournament outside of the United States, so I have to bet Tommy Fleetwood at 20-1 because last time I checked, Paris, France is not in the U.S., so therefore it means he can win this tournament. And he has great course history here. He's not only unbelievable at Le Golf National back in 2018 at the Ryder Cup, but he also won the French Open here the year before that in 2017. He's third in driving accuracy in this field, fourth in the field in good drive percentage over the past 24 rounds, and he's also fourth in the field in strokes gained putting on bent POA grass. So I love Tommy here. I'm a sucker for Tommy. I will certainly have a little bit of Tommy Fleetwood insurance and have him on my card elsewhere. And then my last and maybe my favorite, and it's the longest of them all, but a guy that I think is a dark horse, a guy that made some noise the last time the Olympics were around with golf, and that's Sepp Straka, 50-1. I talked about how important at this golf club being accurate off the tee is, so why not bet the most accurate driver of the ball in all of golf? The Australian played in the Ryder Cup before, representing Europe. He finished T10 at the Olympics last time. Actually, if you remember, he was the day one leader. He was leading the Olympics for quite some time. He still ended up finishing inside the top 10. But this is a guy that in big events has showed that he can hang with the big dogs. And he's having a pretty solid year as well. 4 top 10 finishes, 3 of them coming inside the top 5 of the RBC Heritage, the Charles Schwab, and the Memorial. And Muirfield, I didn't mention this about some of the other guys, but Muirfield, the Memorial, a lot of folks in the golf betting community who really think that this is a pretty solid course comp to Muirfield and La National Golf Club as well. So Straka will be on my card in other spots, but at 50-1 for him to end up at the top of the podium, I had to take a bet here, just knowing how well he plays at courses similar to this.
I'm sort of with you guys. Like at the top of the leaderboard, I think if there's a bet to be made, it's Xander at 6-1. Coming off, his second major, he's done it before at the Olympics. There's so much to like about Xander, with the exception of the number, which is now at 6-1. But, when you're playing as well as he is with the results that he's had, guess what? This is what happened to the numbers. But I've got 2 outrights that I really like. And I look at this event a little different than, a regular major or, a tournament. I think a lot of it, is guys that get in and really embrace the opportunity to be national heroes, and to be a part of the Olympic experience. And I think there's advantage to being kind of younger and having some of that more enthusiasm. And listen, we've talked a lot about Ludwig this year. He absolutely has the game. We know that he's ready to pop at some of these big events, and he's been there before. I mean, he's been very, very close, finishing second in a major before. To me, with where he's at right now, he comes in with a ton of confidence, knowing that he can play with any of these players over in Europe. I think we're going to be talking about Aberg on the back nine on Sunday. So at 16-1, he's the guy. And the other guy, and he hasn't been great. He did not make the cut at the Open Championship. But I love this spot for Victor Hovland. I think Vic as a guy, I mean, as sort of a unicorn, if you will. I mean, the one top player in the world from his country. Like what it would do to golf in Scandinavia. Frankly, if either of these guys were able to win the gold medal, I think would be as significant or maybe more of winning any other tournament outside of probably the Masters, like including the PGA, including the US Open, maybe the Open Championship with its proximity. But, you know, listen, I think Ludwig, with the way that he's been playing recently, is more likely. But I got a piece of Xander at 30 or of Victor at 30-1. I think that under normal circumstances, Vic would probably be closer to that 16 where Oberg is right now. And I think if you can push aside some of the struggles that he's had as of late, realizing this is a very different experience, course setup, all of that, I think Vic is worthwhile. I mean, I did take a look at Hideki. Hideki's another player, not quite of the role of, you know, sort of a younger player, but a guy that I think truly appreciates the international nature of this. We know what his Masters win did for his profile in Japan. And he's a guy that I'm considering. And I don't mind the Sepp Straka as far as, you know, for a little bit of a dart or a flyer at 50-1. But my two favorite guys are Ludwig at 16-1, Victor Hovland at 30-1. And then I think, as opposed, like normally we're basically looking at uprights and we might go with top 10s. The other place I'm really focusing in on is to hit the podium and to get a medal. Usually top threes is not something we normally bet in regular golf events. This is an event for top three because you do get on it. And I'll tell you what, a little bit of a homer pick here. It might be a little tough to throw down on Corey Connors at 40-1, although I think I'll probably do that just to support, and Nick Taylor at plus 150. But as far as getting a medal and placing top three, have to have a little piece of the Canadians. Now, Corey Connors is 14-1 to a place in the top three. And Nick Taylor, I think, is 40-1, if I'm not mistaken, 40-1. So I'm supporting our guys, and my guy Derek Ingram, who was out there coaching them both. 40-1 and 14-1 for our two Canadians to win a medal. And then another fun thing, and we can maybe kick around this after Dusty drops his favorite outrights. We can also bet nationality of medal winner. And this is interesting, of the medal winner or of the winner of the gold medal. USA to win the event is plus 135. So essentially you're getting Morikawa, you're getting Xander Schauffele, you're getting Scotty Scheffler, and I guess you're also getting Wyndham Clark, although I don't think he's going to be cashing any tickets. Just to get a medal, USA is minus 250. So that is a little bit chalky. But if you go down, I mean, like plus 260 for Sweden, which has Noren and Ludwig. If you wanted to jump on that, 9-1 for the winner. Although I think that the winner, I guess Noren is pretty live. I have to admit, like the way that he's playing. So
he
that
certainly is.
9-1 is something to talk about. If you go down, I guess technically Rory is Ireland in this. It's not Northern Ireland, so it's Rory and Shane Lowry, and that is the Irish team, even though they're from different sides of the fence. So plus 180 for a medal for those guys, and plus 675. But having fun, kind of firing off on a couple of medal props for this, because as I say, you want to win the gold medal, but unlike a normal tournament where no one really cares other than the check and the accountant about second or third, there is something. And I will remind people, if you go back to last year, so Xander won the tournament. Other than that, it was ridiculous. Rory Sabatini
I know.
Rory Sabatini won the silver medal. I don't even think he was on tour at that time. And if I recall correctly, he won it playing for Slovakia. I think he married a Slovak girl or something like that. He's originally from South Africa. I think has been living in the States. He somehow won a silver medal for Slovakia. But then the bronze medal was a 7-player playoff won by CT Pan. And I think if you went back 4 years and looked what Rory Sabatini's chances of a medal or CT Pan, we're talking about those 40 to 50 to 1s just to be in the top 3. So if you're maybe a little shy on the outrights, you can take a bit of a bigger swing, I think, on some longer shots to medal based on what we saw at least last year in the Tokyo 2020.
Well, you wanted to talk about like what it means for some of these other guys. And I know I mentioned that I thought, the winner was probably going to be a top dog. I still think so, but I do think that there are some long shots that are worth sprinkling in for, let's say, to medal, because not only did CT Pan win a medal for his country, it also excluded him from military service. That's one of the things in South Korea is if you either win something that elevates South Korea, the country, on a international level, or win an Olympic or win a medal, that exempts you from serving. So certainly he had a lot resting on his shoulders. So maybe some of the other South Koreans, we might have to take a peek to see if that is something that we need to watch.
I guess the team for Korea is Tom Kim. Is it Tom Kim and Sungjae?
I believe that would probably be the only two that would be there. Yeah.
I'm trying to look. Am I missing Sungjae here somewhere?
I actually don't know if Sungjae is. If he is there, he might not have. Maybe it was only. Maybe it's only Tom Kim.
Well, and what is Ben on?
Oh, good question.
What countries is he representing? Because he's got a 50. He's 50 to 1. And this is another guy I could see sneaking.
He's
around.
South Korean as well, so that's why he took Sungjae's spot. So he is South Korean as well.
Basically, 5 to 1 plus 500 for a medal for South Korea is a bet on Tom Kim and Benny On. I actually don't mind that. I think I may get a piece of that at 5 to 1 as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe Benny On has won on tour yet, so I don't think he is exempt from any of those stipulations that we talked about. So,
well, the weird thing about Tom Kim is like he's basically American, right? Like he's been in the States for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
Anyways, if they can do it, I mean, the Olympics is just special. I like a lot of these young guys with a lot of that energy, as opposed to a few of the guys that might just treat this like another tournament towards the part. So, Dusty, I
didn't jump in there too much because I've only got one name that hasn't been said already. I mean, I've already said Xander. I laid that out. I thought I might be the lone guy who's like, give me Sepp Straka at 50 to 1, but Patty's already on that as well, and that's a guy that I absolutely love here as well. He is leading the PGA Tour in fairways hit and T45 in greens in regulation. Like when you're leading the tour in fairways hit, you're always in contention. I mean, if you can continue to do that at this event, I mean, he's been so consistent for most of the season. So I totally have Patty's back on Sepp Straka. Xander was my first guy, so I kind of moved it around here in a little bit of a different range. I got Xander at 6 to 1. I got Sepp Straka at 50 to 1. And then you guys mentioned him briefly. We didn't dive into him as a pick, but I do like Shane Lowry at 25 to 1. Flag bearer for the nation, fully invested in these Olympics. We saw what was happening at the Open Championship. It kind of let it slip away when he was playing relatively well early in the event. 6 top 10s, I believe, already this year as well. I think this would mean a lot for him, and the fact that he's been there as a flag bearer. He's been trotted out all over the place for his country. I think there's an extra level of pride there for this guy to go out and get it done here as well. So I got Shane Lowry at 25 to 1 to go along with Xander at 6 to 1 and Sepp Straka at 50 to 1. We got about 5 minutes left before we all have to jet here with Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up and stuff. So I mean, I think we're in on Xander in some sort of. Well, Patty, what do you got for? What do we already have for exclusives? Like, just so we don't double up here. Is there anybody we need to avoid? Do you think?
No, so to be honest, I didn't put my Greggy Golf special in together because I felt like there was going to be a lot of crossover here. So I held off. Okay. So I can do something different. In terms of exclusives, let me bang them out really quickly so there isn't any others. And there are some beauties here. USA not to win a medal, which I think is just a fun bet if you want to hate on the US. It's plus 150. That just goes to show you how dominant some of those golfers are there. Obviously, with us, all being on Xander doesn't make sense unless maybe you want to hedge your bet. Scheffler, Schauffele, McIlroy, all inside the top 10 plus 170. Plus 185. Connors and Taylor both to finish top 20 plus 500. Hovland and Aberg both to finish inside the top 10 plus 600. Rahm, Aberg, Fleetwood, that's a great bet for you, plus 800. Canada to win a gold medal in either men's or women's, plus 1,000. Scotty Scheffler and Rory both to end up on the podium, 12-1. Scotty and John Rahm on the podium, plus 1,250. Connors and Taylor both to finish top 10, 25-1. And US to clean sweep the podium, kind of the opposite of the first bet I said, 50-1.
That would be wild. Scheffler, Morikawa, and Xander to go.
I think I'm going to sprinkle it. I think I'm going to sprinkle it just for fun.
All right. So what do we put together for a big Olympic parlay here, Huss? Huss, you saw it. Like Patty and I are both on a couple of guys. I mean, I like both of the guys. I think I like Aberg a little bit more than Vic with the way he's been playing lately. So, I mean, I would totally be comfortable with throwing that on there. What do you guys think?
Why don't we start it off with Xander to get a medal?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, it's both have it. So let's have Xander
medals. He medals.
Xander to be on the podium.
Yeah.
And again, this is a smaller field right now. What do we think about Xander to medal? Aberg, let's just get back to these. I'm on the wrong site here. Top 10 placing. Like I don't like maybe Ludwig for top 10
and Sepp top 20.
Yeah. I think I'd feel most comfortable with Sepp with Sepp in the top 20. So
Xander to medal, Aberg top 10, Sepp top 20.
That should be a pretty good number with the medaling there for Xander, right? Like, yeah.
I would think so.
I like it.
I would think so. Yeah, we'll
top 3. It's plus 225 for Xander just on its own to bet top 3. It's minus 135 for Ludwig to be
That's not even
10.
crazy chalky, so that's fine.
No, and Sepp Straka minus 143 for top 20.
Okay.
And again, we're talking about a field of 50 golfers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So again, the key thing is Xander being in the mix, getting back onto the podium. A strong game from Ludwig. Yeah, I like this one. Let's get it up, boys. Let's get it up.
This should be good.
Love it.
Very excited for it.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. I want to hammer out just quickly. No explanations. I'll just throw some of the other bets that I like. You mentioned Noren. I absolutely think he's live. I've got him to medal at plus 900. You talked about the Swedes, obviously, with Oberg and Noren. Sweden to medal plus 260, and then Sweden to win gold plus 900. I like that as well. That's me getting a piece of Oberg. And then, you know me, I am a sucker for storylines. I am the biggest sucker for storylines. Well, Mathieu Pavon from France, he's been having a great year on the PGA Tour. For him to medal, 16-1, but then him to even finish inside the top 20 is even money. So those are some of my other side bets that I really like as well.
A Pavon medal would be huge for the French.
Yep.
They've taken a few tough losses so far. Their swimmers have been doing well, but you think about their rugby team, the soccer team so far, maybe they need a hero like a Pavon, who had that incredible start to the season. And, once you get those wins, I think probably a real focus for him has been on these Olympic Games. So should be good. I'm with you on that Sweden number. I think Sweden, because of just how live Noren is and how much I love Oberg, knowing my luck right now, I'll be in on Oberg and Noren will win. So This is probably a good time for folks to maybe be safe and get the Sweden number right now, because it seems like we're around it, but just not there as of late. That's changing this weekend, though.
Huss, what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, it's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk some Bombers. Ben Grant from Toronto is going to join us. He had a really interesting article on what is failing this club right now, coming out of the game last week at 3 Down Nation. Scott Billick's going to jump on, and then a treat. My old pal, Gabriel Morency.
Oh, boy.
Gabe coming in hot today. He sleeps about 2 to 3 hours a day right now.
My man.
Everything happening with the Olympics. So Gabe's going to come on later on today. And then 3 o'clock Winnipeg time, 2 o'clock Edmonton time, right after Winnipeg Sports Talk, the latest episode of CFL 110 with myself and the Hammer, Jeff Hamilton. So if you're ESTers or hanging out with Dusty afterwards, come on over and join us. And we should have a really good hour of CFL talk, including the latest with the Elks as they make a pretty significant quarterback change this week and look for a win.
Lots to discuss there. Boys, I guess I'll talk to you in like a week or 2 weeks, I guess, whatever that works out, the next Monday after the tournament next week. I don't even know how many days I'll be away. But
are you doing CFL next week and Holinka?
Buddy, I am doing starting tomorrow over a 10-day stretch. I'm doing 3 football games and 14 hockey games. So, yes, I'm actually not missing a week of CFL, and they're just jamming a 6-day hockey tournament with 3 games a day in the middle of it. So,
where is the tournament?
It's here. Edmonton? It's here. It's in Edmonton. So, I at least get to be home, but I mean, I'm going to be at the rink for 11 hours a day. So, I don't know. I'm going to come back on the air that Monday morning because the Elks play a home game on the 11th. The tournament goes to the 10th. I have a football game the very next day. I'm going to come on the air the next morning and be like, hi, everybody. Thank you very much for being here.
I wanted to see if we could get a line on whether you will have a voice in 10 days from now or 11 days from now.
There's no chance.
It's probably at about minus 5,000 right now. Well, listen, we'll be watching. We'll be watching. And, of course, we got it for you while you're away. Me and Matty Owanek will be in. Always love talking CFL. We'll make the CFL picks. You can text us your picks for the show. We'll drop those tomorrow. Maybe put together a little partner parlay. And then Matty and Patty are going to be taking care of business on Friday and Tuesday when I'm away at Aikens Lake. And then myself and Matt will pop in for this for the Thursday show next week. JBM will be back from holidays. He might pop in. But we'll hold it down in the lock shop, and I will personally try and turn it around. Still rattled about that Dodger game last night, but we need to let it go.
You always will be.
We need to let it go. All positive vibes in on Ludwig and Victor Hovland and the rest of our guys.
Huss, you know what the biggest slump buster is? It's WWE PLEs. And I know you're not here Friday.
Got to get them tomorrow.
I know Duck Dad has been in the chat. You got to get those picks in tomorrow.
Tomorrow I will do that, and I'll actually fire you guys off a little bit for Friday, just so if people are asking that missed the Thursday show, we'll be in. But
yes,
SummerSlam odds are up. You got to go to the bottom. World Wrestling Entertainment. Latest line movement: CM Punk plus 185, Drew McIntyre minus 270. As usual, some kind of big favorites in some of the matches, but we'll try and get the most interesting ones, the closest lines. We'll give a few picks tomorrow in the lock shop for the WWE.
All right, boys. We'll talk to you later. That's going to do it for the lock shop today. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck tonight, and the boys will talk to you tomorrow.